Hello and welcome back to my English classes online intermediate level. Today's lesson is all about past perfect continuous. We form this tense by using had, been, plus our verb with its ing ending. Now, we have some great examples to explain all of this, so let's get started. Let's have a look at some past perfect continuous examples so that we can understand the idea. Let's have a look here. We had been living in Izmir for 10 years before we moved to Istanbul. So before Istanbul, living in Izmir for 10 years was our action and it lasted for 10 years. Next example, he finally came. I had been waiting for him since 2 o'clock. So the action of waiting from 2 o'clock ended when he finally came. And the last example, Sally's clothes looked wet because she had been walking under the rain. This one is the same as the other two. There was an extended period where Sally had been walking under the rain. That action is finished and that is why her clothes now look wet. In some cases, past perfect continuous and past perfect tense are interchangeable. That means we can use them in both situations. Let's have a look at this example here again. We had lived in Izmir for 10 years before we moved to Istanbul, and we had been living in Izmir for 10 years before we moved to Istanbul are the same. They have the same meaning. The only thing that's different here is the grammar for past perfect and past perfect continuous. In this next group of examples, we have he finally came. I had waited for him since 2 o'clock, and he finally came. I had been waiting for him since 2 o'clock. Again, only the grammar is different, but the meaning in both sentences is the same. If we're looking for a specific difference between past perfect continuous and past perfect tense, then we can say that past perfect continuous has more emphasis on the time. So since 2 o'clock, since the morning, for an amount of hours. That would be our only main difference. Okay, so let's have a quick review of everything we've just learned. Remember, for past perfect tense, our format is had plus verb in form 3. But for past perfect tense, we have had plus been plus verb with its ing ending. Here we have an example of past perfect tense. I had studied English for 2 hours before I watched a movie. We have two actions, studying of English and watching a movie. So one of them came before the other. Remember, past perfect tense, we're showing two actions, how they relate to each other and how they happen one after the other that are completed in the past. In the second example of past perfect continuous tense, I had been studying English for 2 hours when my phone rang, shows that an action was continued and was interrupted when our second action happened, which was the phone ringing. So that's the difference there that we can see. In this example here, I had known him for 10 years before he moved to another city. Very important that we pay attention here. So we have the sentence in our past perfect tense as normal, but we can't put this sentence into past perfect continuous. If you don't remember why, go and watch the video on stative and non-stative verbs, but the word know is never changed into an ing verb. So that means we cannot say I had been knowing him. It's not possible. So all we have is I had known him. And that's it for our lesson on past perfect continuous. Now it's time for you to do the activities, get some practice in, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.